Right. Okay, good. Now it shows that we're recording. So welcome aboard Lauren Elizabeth Gonzales, our original Marigold Scholar for ANAK KO, and I'm Dr. ELAINE DISPO-RENDON, the founder of ANAK KO, and we're going to present on Dia de los Muertos and animal support today because Lauren actually took a course during her undergrad for Dia de los Muertos at the University of Texas at San Antonio. So we're going to pick Lauren's brain on the Day of the Dead or Saints Day, which is actually the day after All Souls Day. All Saints Day is November 1st, and All Souls Day or Dia de los Muertos or Day of the Dead is on November 2nd. So you see our mini bio here on this slide, but let's just go ahead and hear from you, Lauren. You can tell us a little bit about yourself and the career that you're pursuing, especially since the Marigold Scholarship is part of your pursuit.
Yes, thank you so much for wanting to collaborate with me. It's been so much fun getting to work on this with you. Yes, I'm from the Rio Grande Valley. I did my undergraduate degree in psychology at the University of Texas at San Antonio, and now I'm at Trinity University. I just finished my first year in graduate school in a Master's of Arts in School Psychology program, which has been what I wanted to do for a really long time. So I've really enjoyed it so far. And yeah, I'm going to start my second year within a few weeks, and I'm very excited.
Oh, great, Lauren. Well, I'm so glad that you've been continuing your school psychology career and just making progress through grad school. And before you know it, we'll see you as a school psychologist and helping with the students' assessments and with their educational challenges and just helping make it a smoother experience for them. And as for yours truly, I'm a university professor, and that's actually how I met Lauren in the first place. Even before starting ANAK KO, Lauren's been here for me since my first pregnancy loss of Ángel Nevaeh. And we also founded ANAK KO named after Ángel and have been helping bereaved families for going on 5 years this month. And ever since founding ANAK KO, I've also gotten certified in grief counseling and specialize in pet loss grief support. So we'll tie in not just the aspect of pet loss after Lauren's segment on Dia de los Muertos, but also how animals who are still alive help us throughout our daily lives as important parts of our family. So just to brief you on what we'll cover today, we'll have our segment on Dia de los Muertos, or again, Day of the Dead, All Souls Day, and the cultural grief customs that come with those traditions, in addition to how animals support us emotionally, and also brief you on what ANAK KO nonprofit public charity is all about. So the questions that I have for you today, Lauren, as you know, include what is the origin of Dia de los Muertos? How do different cultures celebrate Dia de los Muertos today? And how has Dia de los Muertos influenced other cultural traditions? And here's a picture of us the last time we saw each other in person. And I have this cup here right now, if you can see the sugar skulls from the Rio Grande Valley. So, of course, I'm going to take a swig out of this every once in a while during our presentation. So go ahead and take it away. You can just give us a brief overview of the course that you took during your senior year of college on Dia de los Muertos, Lauren. So you have the floor.
Thank you. So yeah, this was a course that I got to take during the fall of my senior year at UTSA. When I saw the course listed, I told my friends, I was like, we have to take this course. It sounds so much fun, and we get to learn about our own culture and the way we celebrate, maybe learn new ways to celebrate. So yeah, as far as the course structure, we kind of started by learning the history of Dia de los Muertos and its origins, and it does have origins in Mesoamerica, um, and the indigenous people who lived in what is now central Mexico, they honored the dead and they saw death as a part of life. And these included the Aztecs and other Nahua people. And they believed that after death, a person traveled to Mictlan, the land of the dead. And to get there, they had to pass through 9 challenging levels. And the Nahua people performed rituals in which they provided food, water, and other tools to help the dead on this challenging journey. So those are kind of like the origins of the celebration and the beliefs. Again, the core belief is that death is a part of life. And for Dia de los Muertos, it's believed that at time, the boundaries between the living and the dead kind of dissolves, and the dead are able to join the living again. We also learned about mainstreaming of the celebration and Dia de los Muertos. And this included discussions about cultural awareness versus cultural appropriation. So while cultural awareness helps people understand other cultures and it promotes respect, cultural appropriation occurs when people adopt aspects of another culture in a way that's either inappropriate or unacknowledged, or maybe they celebrate a cultural celebration without having a true understanding of the celebration. So we learned a lot about that and ways that we could prevent that. And the main goal of our course was to learn more about Dia de los Muertos and ways that we could promote cultural awareness over appropriation. We also learned about commercialization, which we see a lot now more recently with Dia de los Muertos. You see, one example would be that we talked about in class is like Build-A-Bear. They now have a Dia de los Muertos themed
Oh
bear.
yeah, I love that.
Mhm. Yes, that's so great. Yeah, so we kind of had discussions like, what are the pros and cons of this? And so a lot of the benefits of that we talked about was that it spreads awareness of Dia de los Muertos. A lot of people maybe didn't know what that was, and now they do because they saw like the bear or other Dia de los Muertos merchandise. We also just talked about how it's important to be careful with that as a society and to not lose the true meaning behind Dia de los Muertos. So yeah, pros and cons, just like with everything. We had a lot of discussions about that in class, which was one of my favorite parts of the course because it was a lot of us teaching each other.
I really appreciate your insight and for you sharing with us what you learned from taking this course, Lauren, especially the cultural appropriation part. And since you did bring up the Build-A-Bear for Dia de los Muertos, it actually honestly crossed my mind to get you one. And I was thinking, I don't know if that's appropriate, if it's really accurately symbolic. So I'll just scratch that for now. But
Oh.
I love that that was an example that y'all actually addressed in your class.
Mhm.
And now we're going to go through some different elements of Dia de los Muertos that are commonly seen during that time of the year at the beginning of November, but sometimes in certain cultures, segueing even from the month of October, from even Halloween. Some may assume that that's also part of Dia de los Muertos, but we do see some common themes and different elements, including the sugar skulls, candles, marigolds, butterflies, and ofrendas, or the altars. And a couple of connections that I personally have with Dia de los Muertos is that my husband David, who is the co-founder of ANAK KO, he and I had celebrated the funeral mass and the ceremony for our first baby angel on November 2nd. I actually miscarried on Halloween that year that we got married, and then we buried our baby on Day of the Dead. So actually, there was also a mass of Day of the Dead at our church, and we actually had adoration before her funeral mass. So I thought it was really special on that day. So when we go visit her on the Day of the Dead, it's also the anniversary of her funeral. And two of our cats, who are actually next door to my home office right now, and my cat Poggy is here, his litter mates, who are almost identical twins, are named Mariposa, which means butterfly in Spanish, and his sister Marigold. We actually named them when we thought all of them were girls, but some of them were boys. But we just let the names stick. But Lauren actually can give us more insight, especially on how butterflies and marigolds tie in with Dia de los Muertos, and she'll also elaborate more on the altars or the ofrendas as well. So we do light candles for our dead. Like, for example, on Thursdays, I attend daily mass at my parish, St. Eugene de Mazenod in Brownsville, Texas. And actually, he's the one who founded the Oblates, where Lauren and I meet with ANAK KO Obispo, Bishop Michael Pfeiffer, at the Oblate Missions in San Antonio. And yesterday, the Mass was offered in memory of one of the ladies who attended our parish. And then we had adoration, where we had the Blessed Sacrament and benediction for the Holy Hour. And in front of the Blessed Sacrament, the monstrance at the altar, and in front of the lady's picture, there were candles lit. So is there anything in your Dia de los Muertos course that you learned, Lauren, about any significance of candles?
Yeah, what I remember is I think the bright light is supposed to kind of light the way for the dead to find their way back to their families.
I see. I see. So it has an extra special meaning, because if there is the path lit, but it also, light can also symbolize hope, that we're also hoping for their souls to go back, because as Lauren mentioned earlier, there are different stages or phases to lead the dead, to have a more pleasant journey beyond beyond their earthly lives. And we also have marigolds. And of course, as you know, this is the namesake of our scholarship for Lauren. And the first year we planted marigolds in our garden, we had luck. But unfortunately, we attempted to plant more seeds in our garden, and they didn't grow the following years. But marigolds can project bright colors, including orange and even at times red and yellow. So, what did you learn in your Dia de los Muertos course, Lauren, about marigolds tying in with Dia de los Muertos?
For marigolds, I want to say I remember some significance about the smell of the flowers, because the ofrenda is supposed to be um, something that kind of entices the senses of the dead and attracts them. So I want to say I remember about the smell, and then also the relationship with the butterflies that we'll talk about next.
Oh, yeah, and that's a good segue to the mariposas, because I believe that is the next slide, in particular with monarch butterflies. So as you can see here, Lauren has included information here. So you can go ahead and elaborate, Lauren.
Right. So indigenous people believed that the monarch butterflies represent the souls of loved ones who have passed, returning to the earth. And it's particularly significant because monarch butterflies return south to Mexico after their migration during the same time that Day of the Dead takes place. So marigolds are actually said to guide and attract souls to the ofrenda, much like they would butterflies. Um, so in our exhibit, we had both marigold flowers and monarch butterflies.
Oh, okay, okay, that's interesting because before before we collaborated on these slides, I just had always thought it was butterflies in general, but now that you're specifying, that does make more sense. So, that's interesting. And here I was including different butterfly colors in this slide,
Yeah,
but
no,
specifically
I think
monarch
yeah,
and
no, just butterflies in general for sure. I think that we typically
oh,
see the monarch butterflies more just because of like the significance with their migration during that time. But yeah, I think all butterflies can be symbolic of that.
oh, okay. Thank you, Lauren, for um, making me feel better and assuring me about that. But speaking of monarch butterflies, though, a couple of weeks ago when David and I attended Sunday Mass, we saw some swarming around the garden in front of church. So we thought that was really beautiful. I try to catch pictures of butterflies when I can, and it's only occasionally when I can actually catch them. So I'm not catch them like in my hand or in a bottle,
Mhm.
but catch them when I snap my photos. So it's great to see um, them live or just as symbols. And now this is where we'll see Lauren really expanding the most because this is where everything can come together in the ofrenda, the altar that's dedicated to our loved ones who are dead during this time of year. So go ahead and tell us more about the ofrendas, Lauren. And then the following slide will go more in detail of the one that you did for UTSA.
Yes, I love that picture. Is that one of
Thank
yours?
you. Yes, this was from last year after Lilo died. So it's offered for Lilo, Asia, Angel, Divine, both of my cats and both of my babies, as well as my grandparents and granduncle.
Um, yes. So common items that are on the ofrenda include, like you said, candles, lots of colors, and every ofrenda is different.
Oh, yes.
There's really no right or wrong way to do one, which is one of the things that I appreciated when we learned because
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
my family, like we've like never made like a formal one really. We just kind of like have like more pictures around, more Day of the Dead decor, much like you have there in your picture, which I love.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, so we learned like there's really no right or wrong way to do it. But one thing that I remember that was common in some of the bigger ones, like the one that we made, and ones that you might see like in a place of business where they have maybe more like funding or something, more resources, is three tiers. And I
Oh,
believe
wow.
the bottom tier was supposed to represent the underworld, and the middle tier, the earth, and then the top tier was, I want to say, for more like saints. Uh, yeah, so you would see different items on different tiers. I think traditionally a lot of the food items are on the bottom tier. Um, but yeah, there's really no right or wrong way to do it. Common items, again, the food that the loved ones enjoyed to entice them back um, to this world. The candles to light the way. Another thing was papel picado.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that's supposed to represent the wind. Um, oh, incense is also common. And of course, the marigolds.
Oh, I love that you pointed out the incense. I was about to take mine out, but I'm actually I'm running low on them. David had gotten some for my office, but I also love that you mentioned the three tiers, Lauren, including the underworld, earth, and the saints, because now it does make sense to me why many have the ofrendas up for a good while, not just on Dia de los
Mhm.
Muertos, but even the day before on All Saints Day or the day before that, Halloween, and some may associate Halloween with the underworld as well. So just putting all three of those worlds together, so to speak. And I love that you mentioned food. I love food, and I've always noticed in my Filipino Catholic tradition, whenever we're celebrating the life of a loved one who's passed away, we usually put food in front of his or her picture or their pictures. And sometimes it's their favorite food. And when we visit their graves, we may even leave stuff there. Like I know with my grandparents, some of my relatives leave gum or a can of soda pop or something that they enjoyed drinking or eating or consuming while they were still alive, just to show that we haven't forgotten them, that they're still very much a part of our lives, even though they may be part of the afterlife now and not be in this world on earth. We still are, in essence, building a connection with them, so to speak. And I'd love to see how this all came together, because when you did this a couple of years ago during your senior year of college, I was really impressed what you and your peers did. So please elaborate, Lauren.
Yes, so this was our ofrenda that we made as a class. It was the main project of the course. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, we created an ofrenda at the UTSA Student Union. And the main goal was to raise awareness about Dia de los Muertos and also invite everybody, students, staff, anyone in the community really to come and participate and celebrate Dia de los Muertos with us. The title of our ofrenda was Siguen viviendo en nuestros recuerdos, our family's journey back to us, which means they continue to live in our memories. We chose that title as a class, and I love that we had both Spanish and English because it's kind of symbolic of our heritage,
Oh,
really,
yes.
and being Mexican American. And again, the main themes were monarch butterflies and marigolds because of their relationship with each other. And we also had several events throughout the semester. So we had one event where students, staff could come in and make marigold flowers like out of tissue paper, and we actually put them on the ofrenda. And we had
Nice.
another event where we could make butterflies, and they could write the name of a loved one on there, and we also attached those to the ofrenda. And it was an ongoing exhibit because we left already made butterflies on there, and so anyone who walked by could just write a name on it really quick and then
Oh,
place it on
good.
the agenda. So that was another cool thing that we chose to do because if you couldn't make those events, you could still participate.
Well, I really appreciate the butterflies that you made for my Angel Nevaeh and my Divine Mercy babies, Lauren. That really meant a lot. And I love that how you and your class involved the entire campus with participating in these events to draw awareness and to add these traditions into their own personal celebrations every year. So I'm hoping that it really instilled and influenced them to continue Dia de los Muertos, for the love of their own deceased family members and friends as well. So this is great. I mean, I love the turnout from the photos that you shared here, and the fact that more of UTSA could also partake in it. I mean, that just really made them feel more included and involved in this project. So this is just wonderful. And I want to point out that Dia de los Muertos is just one of these courses that um, I don't think is very common at any of the colleges or universities where I've taught. And Lauren actually had the opportunity to take it because she was part of the honors program at UTSA. So this is just, a really great opportunity for you to have taken it, and for you to bring back what you learned for us here in ANAK KO. So we really appreciate you for just imparting all of this information and your experience with us, Lauren. And I'm going to take these as valuable lessons into my own continued traditions, but also sharing it because I know with my students, I do talk about it during that time of the year. And I've had students who've also been having ofrendas as well. So I just love that some of us can exchange pictures and talk about what we've done and talk about who we remember, because that's what Dia de los Muertos is all about. So thank you, Lauren. And I mean, I'm sure that this is one of those courses that you'll remember forever for sure.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to go ahead and talk about, well, I was trying to go forward, but it looks like I'm going backwards. I have a rolling mouse, so I was rolling up instead of down, and
Oh,
down should be taking me to the next slide. But we also have our animals as important parts of our lives, and they can even be with us. Since we are talking about grief through Dia de los Muertos, another common important part for many of us are our fur babies, or fine feather friends, or scales, or fins. Any animal who is an important part of our lives. They're part of our families. And Lauren has here some of her important pets, including Pigeon, who she's holding on the top left. There's Baby on her first day of graduate school at Trinity University. There's Rebby with her mom, and her brother at the Yellow Dog or school bus. And speaking of dogs, there's there's Yuvia, aka Brown Dog, and the far right there's Harry, and I love that because speaking of white cats with orange markings, we saw one in our front yard after church, and we hit the tennis court for tennis and pickleball last night. So when we got home, David had already told me while I was at church that he saw a white cat with orange markings, and we named her. We named her Full Moon in Spanish, which is Luna Jana, I believe, Llena. So she looks like your Harry. So
that's so
I love
cool.
seeing your animals here. And do you want to tell us how they have helped you through your life in general?
Yes, for sure. They've all been all the animals pictured here and so many more
Oh,
have
yes.
really helped me through some very stressful times. Like Pigeon, I we got her during COVID, or like kind of transitioning out of like that really deep time in the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
And she helped me a lot. Because that was a very stressful time for me. It was just I was going through a depression. It was hard because there was no social interaction really.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so she was like one of my best friends during that time, and she still is.
Oh,
Um,
good. I'm glad to hear that.
yes, and Reapy, of course, she's been with me for so many years. I love her so much. She's my baby. She's our indoor cat. So she's been with me through middle school, high
Oh,
school,
wow.
and in college.
Already.
So
And now
she's
grad school. So
yes, and
four
now
different
grad
schools.
school. So she's seen it all. She's been with me through all the
Incredible.
tears, the loss of my grandma and my uncle, particularly with my grandma because she was pretty close to my grandma, so we were kind of going through that grief together. Um, we definitely supported each other during that time. And then Baby, she's one of the outdoor cats at my friend's house where I lived for my first year of grad school. She's so sweet. She has the cutest baby face. Um, and she's the only one pictured there, but all of them, all of those outdoor cats, they set me off to my assistantship in the morning, and they greeted me when I came back to the house at night,
That's
exhausted.
wonderful.
And yes, so I appreciate them all. And Brown Dog, our newest addition. She's supported my family a lot, especially my mom, because she rescued her from her old job at work. So she definitely helped my mom through a lot of stressful days at work, and continues to support her now here at the house. My brother's really close to her, especially when I'm away at school. He's usually the one who'll take her for a walk and everything. So they've really bonded. So I also like that aspect of it, that pets can help you with like physical activity, going for a walk. That can help you emotionally as well. And then there's Harry. He was the community cat in the dorms at
Oh,
school.
cool.
Yeah, so he was so important during my time at UTSA, because we called him the Chap Cat, because he stayed in Chaparral Village, which is where I lived all 3 years that I
Oh,
lived in the dorm.
cool.
And I lived there 3 years, and I was in RA for 2 years. So we would feed him. Whenever I was bored, I would just go for a walk and look for him, and I kind of had a knack for finding him. And I would go bring him treats,
That's sweet.
feed him, just pet him. Um, there he is. He's really happy sitting
He
outside
looks content. That's
the
for sure.
yes, that's outside the Roadrunner Cafe. So yeah, and then when I became an RA, he would go on my late night rounds with me, checking the dorms, making sure everything's good. So yeah, he actually hasn't been seen since last December, I believe.
Oh,
So they did have a memorial service for him because he was older.
oh,
Um, which I really loved that they decided to do that. I
that's a nice
wasn't able to
gesture.
go because I had a class that night, but they had the kind of similar to an ofrenda. They had like a exhibit set up for him there in the
Oh,
front office of
wow.
the dorms. So I was able to go later and like write a little note for him, because he
That's
was
good.
so important during my time at UTSA.
It sounds like it. I mean, what a great honor to have him by your side when you were residence assistant,
Mhm.
Lauren, that he helped you with your rounds and that the UTSA community could remember him that way. And I love that nickname. And I mean, oh goodness, it's great to have that kind of company, especially if you're living on campus and you're missing the comforts of home. It helps to
Mhm.
have animals around and make friends with them and help take care of them as a community. And with lluvia, this is the Spanish word for, is it rain, right? Or okay, okay, just making sure. So I love that, all of them have, all of your cats and your dog have had special meaning in your life, and many, many other animals. And the same with me. I can't go through each of them individually, but I'll point out. Oh wait, there's more. There's a surprise slide. Uh,
I'm sorry. Yes.
right. So please tell us more about Charlotte, Tony, Richard, and Jack, who I have not met before. So I'm glad to see them.
Yes. I had to add these four in because they were the indoor cats at the house I lived in this past year.
Oh,
So,
oh, I see. Wow.
yeah, so
Nice.
they were especially supportive during my first year of grad school. So happy that I was able to live with my best friend and her family, and that they're a cat family, because I
Wow.
love cats, and of course, I really missed my own animals when away for grad school. So the top left is Charlotte. That's a picture of her on my stomach when I was really
So
sick this one time.
cute.
Yes,
I
which
love that.
I love when cats do that, when they climb on
Me
top of
too.
you, you're sick.
That
Yeah,
helps.
so she's the sweetest. And then there's Tony. He's the cutest. He's so cute. You can
He
call him Tony,
is.
Tony the pony. He
Tony
loves
the
to
Pony.
he loves to play. He loves with string. So anytime that I wanted to de-stress, I would just pull out a string and he would run around.
Was he with you when you would make friendship bracelets for ANAK KO like this one?
Yes, he was actually. Yeah, had to be a little careful because he would like to eat the string, so I had to kind of watch it. But
Oh, as long as you're cautious about it, for sure.
right, I would play with him after.
Oh, good. He deserves a reward.
Yes. And then there's Richard. He's so sweet. He likes to watch TV with me. He would watch dance moms
Aw.
with me.
Really? How
At the end of
sweet.
the night. Yes. And then there's Jack. Jack, oh, he was the sweetest. He did pass away this past year, so that was hard.
Oh, I
But I'm
bet.
happy that,
Yes.
yes, happy that I got to live with him in the house for a few months. He was so sweet. He uh like to like climb on the tables and everything when you're eating, and he would just kind of sit next to you. But yeah, they're all the sweetest, and I appreciate them very much for helping me during my first year of grad school.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am sorry to hear about the loss of Jack. And it must have been tough for you and for your friends,
Mhm.
family. And hopefully, y'all continue to remember him. And I do want to talk more about Jack when we talk about pet loss later on, because I want to ask, or for you to tell us how the rest of his cat siblings coped with his loss, because yes, a loss of an animal can really hit us as humans, but animals also have emotion as well. So I'd like to find out about that, and then I have my animals as well. And um, Asia, who's number one on our Chalupa card, and Lilo, who's the number four on our Chalupa card, are no longer with us. But when Lauren was talking about coming home from grad school and leaving in the morning, for classes and for her assistantship, the outdoor kitties would greet and welcome her home. And that's like what Lilo has done for me when she lived outside, and I would commute to A&M Kingsville and the other schools where I taught through A&M Kingsville, which is actually how I met Lauren, because she actually attended one of the schools that was partnered with TAMUK. But before we took her in, Lila would be welcoming me home and greeting me when I would leave for the day, for that long commute. And I had Asia when I was myself a graduate student and in San Angelo, where Bishop Mike lived. So he got to bless her, and I call her my grad cat because she was with me through my master's degree. And I call Annie here, who is God willing turning 16 next month. She is my stats cat because she's been with me since my second year of my doctoral program, and she'd always sit on my desktop to stay warm, and sometimes my laptop, and I would be trying to crunch numbers for my stats, and it would be hard because she'd be warming up. But she's been great company with school, and she's also my faculty feline because she's with me when I prep my courses, and many times when I'm doing my teaching meetings live. And um, we have 8 animals total inside our house right now, and that's 7 cats and 1 dog. And our 2 heavenly cats are buried in our, and we call it our Queen of Angels Marian garden in our backyard, and Divine, our second baby, is also buried there. But they offer companionship, including in times of stress, and they bring us joy, and they are very much parts of our family. So we take care of them as we would our loved ones who are human. And as you noticed in my ofrenda earlier, I had, remembrances dedicated to Asia and Lilo. And at the time I originally made the ofrenda, Chewy, the online pet store, actually sent me a tombstone for Lilo, which I thought was, just wonderful timing to get it around that time. And Lauren actually knew me when I was pregnant with my first baby, Angel. And at the time, David and I were newlyweds. So we blended our families with Asia, Annie, and his orange cat. Now, my first boy cat, Leonidas, and the girl cats in particular were with me through my pregnancy and supportive, but also very much by my side when I found out that I lost my baby, because I had what was called a miscarriage. I didn't miscarry right away. I found out through the ultrasound and the blood work that my baby was no longer thriving. So I ended up inducing the miscarriage on Halloween, and having her memorial services on Dia de los Muertos. So we have that special connection with this holiday, and Asia and Annie were there for me through that. And Annie continued being here for me through Asia's sickness and loss, as well as my pregnancy and loss of Divine, and also through Lilo's sickness and loss. And actually, all three of my white furred cats, Asia, Lilo, and Annie, are cancer survivors, but unfortunately, Lilo ended up having other chronic diseases through her cancer journey, and that's what killed her in the end. And I just feel so blessed to have Annie by my side, especially in all of our other cats and dog. She may not be a fan of all of them, but I'm glad that she's my number one fan and I'm hers. So she's really my soul cat for sure. She's my soulmate. Not just because she's an animal and I call her my favorite girl and my favorite cat, but she's actually my favorite earthly being, to be honest. Like I feel so blessed to have her in my life through my 20s, all of my 30s, and into my 40s. And we've been celebrating our birthdays early since July. I'm an August baby, she's a September baby, but we started celebrating last month. So at the time of this recording, we're actually going to release this recording closer to Dia de los Muertos, but right now it's August 8th, which is an angel number. The date is 8/8, but yes, Annie and I, the birthday celebrants, we're celebrating early as birthday girls. But a challenge that we encounter is, what do we do when we lose an animal who's important to us? And how do we support the animals who are still with us, because they can grieve as well? And this is what I want to ask you, Lauren, and I'll also include my expertise as a pet loss grief support specialist. But when Jack died, what how did y'all cope as a family, and with your friend's family, and how did y'all care for his feline siblings?
Yeah, we definitely, I mean, just as a family, just all checked in on each other a lot more often. We did lean on the other cats as well, and they also leaned on us more. You could tell they were a lot more affectionate, especially in the few days after. I think um, you know, they seemed a little more somber, a little more sad. They definitely um, noticed the loss of Jack's presence in the house. I think I saw them more like kind of like going under the beds, like places that they normally wouldn't go. Um, and just kind of saw them leaning on each other more too, like cuddling with each other. So we just gave them that extra love that they needed and that we also needed during that time. Um, when after a few days, like, we'd start playing with them and everything, trying to lift their spirits. We saw them going on what was Jack's bed, which
Oh,
they
wow.
never really would do that much before, as that was kind of Jack's spot. So we saw them kind of like taking comfort in that spot that was his. Yeah, and I like that we're talking about this because it makes me also remember about when my grandmother passed away, and my Rebe, she she kind of reacted similarly. She was pretty close with my grandma since my grandmother lived in the house and was home all day with her. So they would like watch TV together. They were just always together. And so when my grandmother passed away, I did notice my Rebe doing similar things. Like we had my grandmother's jacket on my mom's bed and she was like cuddling with it, which she had never done before. So,
Sweet.
so to me, like she was a little like noticeably a little more sad, but she took comfort in what was my grandmother's jacket. I'm sure it smelled like her. And so I would just like lay down on it with her and we would both cuddle together. But yeah, it's definitely it's so interesting because the animals they know, they
Yeah.
really know, they feel the loss too. That it's so true that we help each other through that grieving process.
Yes, you're right, Lauren. They definitely sense it. And I'm glad that you brought up these important losses, especially with how Rebe coped with your grandmother's loss, since they had a strong bond together. And the fact that y'all had, fabrics that still smelled like her, including her jacket, her blanket, as well as Jack's blanket for his kitty siblings to, or his bed as well, for them to just really take in, to still somehow have a connection, even though they're not physically present with us anymore. Now, TMI is like, if you are willing to disclose, with Jack, did y'all cremate or bury him?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think they decided to cremate him.
Oh, I see. So I mean, there's definitely no right or wrong way how we choose to um, dispose of the corpse of our loved ones. I know that sounds a bit morbid, but as long as we have a way of respecting them, I mean, added bonus if we do have a burial spot to visit them or an urn, if we choose to cremate to keep them with us, so we can continue a connection with where their resting place is physically. But the more important part is to have that spiritual connection through traditions like Dia de los Muertos, or even just like a prayer interceding to their soul, and feeling their presence still with us. Now, Dia de los Muertos is part of it, of celebrating our animals, but also being there for the animals who are still alive, who have survived. But we want to just mainly focus on the fond memories that we have of them, and not ruminate or dwell on the bad or sad memories, like the circumstances surrounding their death, because that can that can lead us to backtracking through the healing process. Because even if we cannot fully heal from grief, because we're always going to miss our loved ones who are no longer physically present with us, we at the same time still want to be able to mend ourselves and take care of ourselves, throughout our daily lives, and still continue to remember them fondly. And those of us who lost animals, we can still take care of the animals who we still have. Or if we don't have any more animals at home, we can volunteer at a shelter or foster an animal if we're not ready to take the next step of adopting another animal. But maybe eventually, when we feel ready, we can adopt another animal. And you brought up earlier, Lauren, about feeling depressed around the pandemic time. And I believe that was, at the beginning, before the shutdown, your grandmother died, I believe the month before we actually had the stay-at-home orders in February of 2020. And I believe the stay-at-home orders took into effect in March of that year. So it really makes sense, losing that social, in-person, face-to-face contact with people, when we're so used to interacting regularly with people in our daily lives at school and at work. So it's just, one of those that it does help to have animals at home. And for myself, since I work at home and I don't go out all the time, I have all of my animals to tend to. So I just feel like the luckiest person on the planet when, I wake up and I have my animals greeting me. So it just makes me feel so lucky and fortunate. Now, these next several slides are the references that Lauren had cited in her research for the mainstreaming and commercialization of Dia de los Muertos. And here I am going backwards again. I'm trying to go forward. Okay. I actually go up. I'm trying to go. Okay. If I go up, okay. I'm scrolling down to get to the continued slides. Okay, I'm just gonna hit my enter button because obviously I'm like scrolling the wrong direction on my mouse. And for Lauren's terminology for Dia de los Muertos, she cited these sources. And for my grief counseling and pet loss support certifications, I have these references. And when I created our grief diversity specialty for other certified grief counselors that I teach with the American Institute of Healthcare Professionals, I cited these books and several articles, but the books were the ones that I consulted the most. Now, here's our timeline for ANAK KO now that we're in our half-decade anniversary. As of July 2020, we established ANAK KO, and it officially became a nonprofit entity in the state of Texas in August of 2020. But we also got our 501c3 nonprofit public charity status from the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, in 2021. And that's when we started awarding the Marigold Scholarship, beginning with Lauren, who is actually now in her 5th year of the Marigold Scholarship. So congratulations to you, Lauren. You officially are our 2025 Marigold Scholarship winner. So yay, go
Thank
Lauren
you so much.
again. Of
Such an
course,
honor.
yes, it's our pleasure. And another pleasure that we've had is that since 2023, since after Lauren already moved to San Antonio to go to UTSA, she started also being blessed by ANAK KO Obispo Bishop Mike at Oblate Missions in San Antonio, Texas. And when Bishop Mike gives you his blessing in 10 days from today on August 18th, we'll also award you with your 5th Marigold Scholarship and your gift care package for your 2nd year of grad school. And of course, continuing on that route with having the 3rd and final year of your master's degree in school psychology. So it's a lot to look forward to with Lauren, and the fact that you took Dia de los Muertos as a course for your bachelor's degree, I think is just an added bonus for ANAK KO, because you have really imparted with us a wealth of information that we can take with us to be able to implement these traditions culturally appropriately. And here's a picture of my cat who's actually with me in my office right now, and he's the one who's been hitting the mouse and the screen sometimes during our presentation. But I have some coloring pages of sugar skulls that he was surrounded by. So fun activities, to get kids involved as well, like with making the sugar skulls, the candy skulls, or making the paper butterflies or the paper marigolds, are fun ways to get them involved. And of course, we love our sugar skull shoes. These are glow in the dark with our paws, and
Oh,
just special ways of remembering our dead. And of course,
that's so
these
cute.
thank you so much, Lauren. We love it, but now we want to make sure that we are celebrating appropriately, that we do know what is behind these traditions as well. And even though Dia de los Muertos is only one day out of the year, November 2nd. It really is a tradition that is celebrated even throughout the year. As a matter of fact, recently I saw on my Facebook feed this Dia de los Muertos 5K that's going to take place at South Padre Island. And, like I had friend a couple of friends who got married in the month of June, but their theme was sugar skulls. And they actually have a Mexican American family, so they knew a lot about some of the traditions behind Dia de los Muertos. And I think they, want to continue learning about it because in their house, they have a whole room that's dedicated to Dia de los Muertos. And they also have their share of animals as well. Last time I went to their house, they had, I think, three cats, two cats and three dachshund weenie dogs, but I think they've had even more since then. So lovers of animals and lovers of sugar skulls and Dia de los Muertos in general, just away to my heart. And oh goodness,
yes,
so do I.
Like I'm not sure if we have them up right now, but at times like we've kept up like our decorations year round of our Dia de los Muertos.
Yes.
Yeah, like sugar skulls, things like that. We like it.
Same here.
Yeah, and it's like a good way, I think, like to celebrate the dead year round, I think.
I couldn't agree with you more, Lauren. As a matter of fact, my office behind me, I have some sugar skulls, including the one you gave me for my birthday, my milestone birthday. The first year we awarded you with your Marigold scholarship. So my office had a bunch of sugar skulls and other Dia de los Muertos symbols. And I have pictures of my grandparents in here as well. So this would be my dedicated space for Dia de los Muertos. But then I started mixing it up. I started taking some of my sugar skull collection to my foyer in my house, by the hallway to my front door, and putting pictures of my grandparents there. But then I ended up transferring to the living room for the ofrenda this past year. So now I'm just all, okay, well, now I have some, in different rooms of the house. But I don't just hide them in storage for most of the year. I honestly like having them up year round. I don't have all of them up, but I do have some of the ones that I like to remind me of our loved ones, up most of the year, or actually all of the year, if I'm quite honest. But to be honest, I do have other holidays represented as well, because in July, I had Christmas in July and Summerween, and I'm all, what's the point of taking them down if I have to put them back up in the fall or in the winter? I'll just keep them up. So I know, I mean, it's just one of those. And I have a cat condo that David calls their tree house now in the living room. And instead of keeping it up for Christmas as a Christmas tree, it's just there, just like I used to do with my year-round Christmas trees. But there was one time. Yeah, there was one time I think we were changing up decorations on our tree to make year-round our big tree. And there may have been one time I put sugar skulls on them, but now come to think of it, it would be nice to have a Dia de los Muertos tree. But I have Dia de los Muertos wreath, which is with the sugar skull that you gave me behind me right now on my door. So it's just, nice that we can connect on both Dia de los Muertos and animals. And Dia de los Muertos goes beyond the sugar skulls. Of course, just to sum up, we also have the marigolds, we have the butterflies, the candles, the ofrendas as offerings for our loved ones who are no longer with us. And that's also what ANAK KO is all about, supporting grievers both emotionally and financially, including in the form of professional grief support. And I just like to take a time the moment to remember some of our loved ones, including Lauren's grandma B and her Theo Andre, as well as my babies Angel and Divine, and my cats Asia and Lilo, plus my parents and sister's dog Coco, who passed away the day after my mom's birthday in May. We'll always fondly remember them through pictures and other tributes, not just on Dia de los Muertos, but like Lauren pointed out, having the decor with us at home if we choose, year round throughout our lives, because we still consider them as important parts of our families and our lives. So thank you again, Lauren, for being with us today. And do you have any closing remarks?
Just thank you again. This was a lot of fun to work on and revisit some of my old coursework from UTSA. And
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
I love that we both share a love for Dia de los Muertos and the symbolism, the decor. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lauren. And on that note, cheers,
Yes,
salud.
cheers. Might have been San Antonio, but
Yeah, I was thinking the same, because I was thinking, I don't think I'm going to ask her to bring it, because it might be in a different house right now. But it's better that it's in San Antonio, because that way when you're homesick, you can look at it and think, oh,
right.
love to the valley.
Yes,
So
exactly.
yeah, and I mean, I wish you the best when you go back to San Antonio, and I'll see you in a week and a half when we award you with your fifth Marigold Scholarship. And bless you and your family, and blessings for the upcoming school year, your second one in grad school.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything and for the opportunity to reapply for this scholarship because it's really helped me so much through my entire academic career.
Yeah, absolutely, Lauren. It's really our pleasure. And thank you for continuing on applying for it, because, it means a lot that you support our cause, especially as a fellow empath and somebody who has gone through the grief process yourself. You are extremely compassionate, and that's, a perfect personality attribute to have in the line of work that you're pursuing. So your students are going to be extremely lucky to have you, as their advocate. So I'm looking forward to continuing, staying in the loop about, finishing grad school, continuing on with your career, and also just, finding out how your family is doing, and, all of your animals. And actually, by the way, your mom did mention something about maybe taking Pigeon with you to San Antonio. Are you still
Oh,
considering?
yeah. I'm not sure. I would like to maybe further down the line. I guess I just worry about her on the drive because actually just yesterday we had her in the car when we pull into the driveway sometimes she'll come on in and she usually doesn't have a problem but yesterday she got a little scared and she wanted to run out so we'll see and then I know she doesn't get along with other cats very well so I know in the house I'm going to be living in there are other cats so I don't want her to be unhappy or in a hostile mood. So we'll just have to see. Maybe further down when I'm maybe on my own and yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea to consider, especially with that being a major transition, not just moving out of the neighborhood, but moving to a whole different city. And we don't
Mhm.
want to risk her running away and not being able to find her way home, or adjusting to other cats when she's used to being on her own. That if she's the sole cat under the same roof as you, um, you know, she may feel more comfortable without having other animals or a lot of other people around either. So
Mhm.
good call, something to consider. But it's great that you have your animals in the valley and your
Mhm.
animals in San Antonio as
Yeah.
well.
Yes, I agree.
Please give love to your family, both humans and animals alike. And we'll see you in a week and a half today. And be safe going to San Antonio and back to the Valley if you get to visit before school starts.
Thank you so much. Love to your
Thank
family
you.
too and your
I
animals.
appreciate you. Thank you. And yes, they definitely send their regards to you as well, Lauren. And I don't know if you can see on the screen. Oh, but well, I thought that Poggy was trying to show himself on the camera. Let me see. Can you see him?
Oh, yes. Hello, honey.
Yes. Oh, so he's happy to see you, Lauren. He said, congratulations on your Marigold scholarship. He's very
Thank
happy
you.
to see you. And yes, we will see you soon and, bless you the rest of this summer.
Thank you so much. Bless you too.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Bye for now.
Bye.
Boy. Okay, 3, 2, 1.